Welcome again to our very special Mother's Day. And again, I want to welcome our moms joining us on this live Zoom call. Again, Chris, how do you do that? I don't know. Thank God for the great AV team back there. They're doing a great job plugging things in here and there and making things pop up and everything. It's awesome. So here's the whole hope, and the whole plan is to, here they are, awesome. Hey moms, good to see you all. Just kind of waving to you. I know there's a little time delay, but thank you so much. Oh my gosh, look at all of you. So great to have you. Welcome, happy Mother's Day. And let's just give all of our moms a big round of applause. Yeah, woo! Woo! I wish we had every mom in the room right now to really celebrate and say thank you. And to all you moms watching, I want you to know you're gonna be getting a special gift from us in just a few minutes. And also what we're gonna do is picking one of these moms to give a real extra special gift too. So here we go. So when it came to this message this week, I just thought to myself, how can we encourage moms today? In other words, what do moms need to hear? And I thought, that to answer that question, what does every mom need to hear? I really believe every mom needs to hear 4 words. 4 words every mom needs to hear. And these 4 words can be summed up in a short word that I made up called Yana, okay? Yana. And we're going to be going through each one of those today. And this is the crazy thing. I thought I made this word up, but I apparently I have not. So what I try to do is, just to kind of double check myself, I kind of Google Yana, make sure there's nothing offensive or anything. But yeah, I'm telling you what, it's a total God thing, what Yana means. And besides what I'm going to be helping you kind of understand today. But this is the first meeting. First of all, you might go, okay, and you go, Chris, what does Yana mean? Well, this is what it means. Number 1, it means bear if you speak the language of the Cherokee Nation. I'm telling you what, there's a lot of mama bears out there, right? Amen. Yeah, probably, what I'm talking about. And thank you, moms, for being mama bears for us. We need that in our lives, and we just thank you for that. And number 2 meaning for Yana is this. It means God is gracious. He's gracious. In the Hebrew language, it means this. And actually, there's a lot of little Hebrew little girls who are named Yana based just to really represent this amazing meaning that God is gracious. And then the 3rd meaning comes from the Urban Dictionary. That's what I'm talking about, the Urban Dictionary, right? So in this Urban Dictionary, it actually means this. Yana means beautiful, positive, and sweet. In fact, it says this straight from the Urban Dictionary. A Yana is not like anyone else you'll ever meet. She always puts others' needs ahead of hers and has the ability to instantly make everything better. For a Yana, the sky is not the limit. There is no limit at all for a Yana. She likes to make dreams and push herself until she makes those dreams a reality. A Yana is the type of girl that you can look at for the first time and know she's the one. And if you have ever met a Yana in your life, make sure you never let her go. Because a girl like her only comes around once in a lifetime. That was awesome. I just thought, and then the example was, bro, your girlfriend is just so amazing. She's so nice and happy all the time. How you get so lucky? Bro number 2, I know, man, she's a Yana. Women, you are all Yanas out there. Moms, you were Yanas. You're awesome. You are so special. You're so amazing. And you might beat yourself up a little bit too much. And today I'm hoping to encourage you. And so what we're going to do is, for today's purposes, I'm using the word Yana as an abbreviation for 4 words I think every mom needs to hear. And you might be able to guess the 4 words based off of Y-A-N-A. And if so, go ahead and try. But let's just dive into each letter one at a time. So Yana, what does it stand for? Yana point number 1. The Y in Yana stands for you. You. And what I'm doing with each one of these is a subpoint, because that's what I do. I do subpoints, okay? So you makes me remind me of this, that to encourage you moms out there, you have been adopted. You have been adopted. Romans 8:15 says this, so you have not received a spirit that makes you a slave to fear. Instead, you've received God's Spirit when He adopted you as His own daughter. Now you can call Him Abba Father. And that word Abba means daddy, just daddy. I want to start by encouraging moms out there, just reminding you who you are. I know that when we get in these low spots in life, just as human beings, and especially a mom, you start beating yourself up. I want you to know you're not a loser. You're not. You're not a horrible person. You're not a horrible mom. You know who you are first and foremost? You're God's kid. He's adopted you. He's adopted you. And I want to also be clear to stop at this moment and realize, because I want you to know I realize, that Mother's Day is not the best day for every mother watching right now. It's not the best day for every just woman watching right now. There's a lot of pain that comes along with Mother's Day. There are moms I know who are watching right now who are distant from their moms. There's some sort of beef, some sort of conflict, and it breaks their hearts. It could be a physical distance where they're just not able to be anywhere near each other, especially with quarantine. There are people who are watching now who have lost their moms recently. Their hearts are broken. There are women watching right now who have tried to become moms, struggled for years, have not been able to do so. And there are moms who have lost their children who are watching right now. Oh, moms, hear me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And please hear me on this too, moms, that, this phrase that people try to tell us when they don't know what to say, they'll say things like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But moms, I'll be honest with you. I know people mean well when they say that, but don't let them. Don't let anyone tell you it's going to be okay when you experience such loss and conflict and hurt. That's not what it's going to be. It's not going to be okay. But you know what it's going to be? It's going to be with God. It's going to be you with God going through this. And he will never leave you. He knows your pain. He's that daddy you can fall into his arms and know that he's going to hold you and walk with you through it. That's who he is, and that's who you are. You're God's kid. You're his kid. Friend, after Yana point number 1, again, the Y stands for you go to the A. The A in Yana stands for R. You are God's masterpiece. You are his masterpiece. It says in Ephesians 2:10, you are God's masterpiece. He has created you anew in Christ Jesus so you can do the good things he's planned for you long ago. And 2 Corinthians 4:16 says this also, therefore do not lose heart. Though outwardly you are wasting away, yet inwardly you are being renewed day by day. A couple thoughts here, especially all you moms who are in quarantine right now with your children. God bless you. Okay, God bless you. I know I can only imagine what you're going through. I'm seeing a little bit of my household. God bless you, mom. Just trying to manage so much, just juggling everything, work and kids, and oh my Lord, it's a lot. I get it. And you might be feeling a little bit like you are wasting away on the outside. And you go, Chris, if you can see me now, I am. Friend, I want you to know, because of Jesus, you are able to be renewed on the inside daily. He's going to be your hope, the one you lean into, to strengthen you. So lean into him daily, and knowing that he has a good work he's began in you that he's not done with. And that brings me back up the top verse here, this masterpiece verse. That's how God sees you. You go, Chris, I don't see myself as that way. I see myself as just this failure of a mom. I never get it right. I mean, again, I think about other moms out there in so many unique situations. I mean, there's even the stepmoms out there right now. You feel like you don't measure up because of whatever. I want you to know, whether you're a stepmom, bio mom, whatever, whatever kind of mom you are out there, know this. I know you probably beat yourself up. You tell yourself you're a loser, you don't measure up, but guess what? God doesn't see you that way. He looks at you and says, yes, that's my beautiful masterpiece. I love her so much. I love her so much. You go, Chris, but I just don't feel like I'm complete, that I'm all there yet. Well, that's because you're being renewed day by day. God has a process here. He's developing you and growing you into the woman he's created you to be. This is a process, friend. And he is not done with you yet. So yeah, if you've blown it as a mom, guess what? This is amazing. You get to say these words to your children, no matter how old they are. I'm sorry. And Chris, that's hard for me to say. I know. It takes humility. It takes love. It takes God to say, I'm sorry. And then to be able to know that after that sorry, you understand, and just breathe and know that you are his masterpiece. He's still working on you. Oh, friend, that's who you are. That's who you are. Don't forget it. And number 2, when it comes to Yana, the word, the N in Yana, we already have the Y stands for you, the A stands for R, and the N stands for not. And the sub point here is you are not able to do it by yourself. You are not able to be the mom you want to be by yourself. You go, Chris, how about some encouragement here? Well, here's encouragement. That's okay. It's okay to really realize this and accept this. You're not able to do it by yourself. Exodus 18 tells a story of when really the whole book of Exodus is how God brings the Israelites out of Egypt, out of slavery, brings them out from under that, and this guy named Moses leads them out. And here Moses is trying to manage millions of people as they walk out of the land of Egypt and towards the promised land. And you can imagine, I don't know if you can, but like millions of people would be like herding cats. Chris, herding cats, I know what that's like. Yeah, being a mom in quarantine, you probably do. Even with adult children, you probably do. It's like herding cats. And Moses tries to do it all by himself, and his father-in-law takes him aside and puts his arm around him and says this, what you are doing is not good. Just straight up truth and love. You will surely wear yourself out, both you and these people, and for our context, your kids, who are with you, for this thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it by yourself. If you're feeling crushed by the responsibilities of motherhood, crushed by how much it takes, I want you to know that's normal. I believe it is. From a father's perspective, it's normal to have that feeling at times, just going, man, this is so much. But it's key for you to understand that you can't do it by yourself. You can't. Because if you can embrace that truth, I can't, and it takes a lot of humility to say that. I can't do it by myself, then hopefully the next step is something amazing. Now, hopefully you don't say this and just check out. And that's what we do sometimes as humans. We check out. That's not the encouragement here. Encouragement is for you to understand you can't do it by yourself, and then after that, next step is to lean into God. Lean into God and to other people. Now, so I'm going to stop right here and pause the message at this point number 3, give you point number 4 after a little video we're going to show you in a moment. Before we show you a video of some moms, and we sat them down to ask them some questions, and they're really to help you moms out there understand you're not alone. Before we do that, I want to go back to our Zoom call with our moms who are watching, and we want to encourage these moms at this moment. So, moms, hi again. Good to see you all. We're so glad you're here, and love to see your kids too. And right now, you should be checking your email if you want, and you're going to see that we've given everybody a $20 gift card to Amazon, all right? And that's just to say thank you. So thank you, moms. Love you guys so much. Thank you, guys. And there's one mom in this group that we're actually giving an extra special gift to. So be listening to your door right now. Someone might be knocking, or there might be a doorbell. If you just hear that, and if you are that mom, take your phone with you or your device with you so we can see you open the door. We have a special gift for you, and we want to encourage you with it. I think we see someone standing up right now. All right, and here it comes. Okay, so yeah, I think, it's okay. Technical difficulties, we're going to be fine here. Oh, let's see if she opens the door and see who it is. Oh, okay, almost. No, we're getting there. I think it's Skyla. Yes, she opened the door right here. And if you can't see on the screen, there's Madison, our kids pastor. Hey, Madison. And so you all know what's happening. Madison's dropping off. You can probably see a bouquet of flowers and a balloon. But Skyla, what's also in that little envelope is a gift card for $250 to bless you with, to use however you want to use. So happy Mother's Day, sweetie, and happy Mother's Day to all you moms. I wish we could give you all that big gift, but know that we love you, we appreciate you, and you guys are amazing. So all of you moms now, please, and everyone watching, please turn your attention into the screen and just be a part of this interview. We sat down with some moms that we know, my wife included, to ask some questions and just kind of talk shop about being a mom, and then we'll get back to finishing what Yana means. Check this out.
Hi guys, how are you? Good. So why don't we start off with telling us your name and the ages of all your kids?
I can start. My name is Patty. I have 2 children. They're both adults now. So I have a 30-year-old son and a
I'm Joyce Mauer. I have 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. They're all grown up and married, and I have 11 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm Kelly. We have 2 kids, a son who's 3.5, daughter who is now almost 2.5, and a third one due next month.
I'm Jill Creed, and I have 4 kids, ages 19, 18, 14, and 12. Girls and boys both. There's 2 and 2.
2 and 2. How about
And
you?
then I'm
Hannah?
Hannah, and I have 4 daughters and 18, okay, let's see, 18, 16, 14, and 12. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you guys had to describe motherhood, what's one word that you would describe it as? Anybody can go.
My first thought, it was kind of funny, was tenacious, which I don't know that I've ever thought that before, but today I did, and I feel like it's appropriate because as mothers, you never give up, you never stop fighting for your kids, even when you should, but we never stop.
Yeah, I like that.
And I guess I would say it's all-encompassing, and that kind of goes along with it, but that's 2 words.
You could just say encompassing.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I said professional juggler, which is also 2 words, but I just thought as a mom, I'm always just juggling everything and every season of life and what they're going through, and so.
I said the word, the first word that came to mind was busy, because as a pregnant mom, you're busy taking care of your body, you're busy thinking about like what's gonna happen next, and then you become a mom of an infant and a toddler and someone who's going to school, and then on and on and on, and you're just constantly busy with them, their likes, their friends, their everything, busy. And then you get to be the mom of older children, and the busy is not busy, and it just shifts, but it's still like the remembrance of how busy I was to how not busy I am now with them. But with them, like, I'm busy worrying about them still. Right?
Yeah.
So, the word I was thinking of was humbling, because I had humbling.
Oh, humbly, yes.
2 toddlers, we're just, I feel like we're in it, and, people say, you're just really in it right now, you're in the busyness, that
Yeah.
crazy, chaotic time, but then I have friends that have older kids, and they just say that is still busy, but in different ways, so it's still like, you're still learning, it's still very much a humbling experience, but,
Yeah.
Every year's different for sure.
right.
That was my other word was grace, because I feel like you have to have grace for yourself, you have to have grace for your kids, and then you have to have grace for everyone else. And I think you almost have more grace the longer you're a mom for everyone else, and especially for other moms, because in the beginning you think you know,
Right.
and then you get later on you realize you don't know anything, and you're just kind of winging it most of the time. But so it's just there's a lot of grace in it.
Well, that's a good segue into my other question was, I hope it's okay that I what's that voice that you hear on that low day, that day where you're having a really hard day and maybe you lay your head at night and you're either that voice you hear or something the enemy tells you when as a mom, what's that thing you hear?
For me, it's things. It's not just one thing, but predominantly it's not enough. Either I haven't given enough time, or I haven't done something enough, or what I tried to say wasn't good enough, or like even just thinking about older kids and where they are with the Lord. Did I give them enough Jesus, or did I give them too much church? And just, what is it? And so I think I think that constant voice in my head, not enough, not enough, not enough, brought me to my knees a lot of times.
I recently read where the voice you hear all day long the most is yourself talking to yourself, and we can do a number on ourselves, thinking we didn't do everything right, we made a mistake, all these things, and it's the devil for sure.
I think for me, it's, I quit my job last year, and so when I have those hard days with the kids, at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't make the right choice. Like, they need a better parent than this to stay with them, you know what I mean? Or I need to take some parenting classes, but, I think that voice comes out where, like, maybe I should be a working mom, not a stay-at-home mom, because obviously I feel like I'm failing at, in that moment failing as a mom, so.
That was my word, was that failure.
Yeah.
And it was, when they were little, I was a failure because I never seemed to finish anything.
Yeah.
The laundry was never done, the
Yes.
dishes, there was always dirty dishes. The house was a mess, and everybody said you're supposed to be okay with it. But you're still looking at it.
you never are.
You have to see it and live in it.
And then as they get older, it's when anytime that they mess up or they misbehave, then that's on me, and I messed up and I didn't parent them right, and even their values and their morals, and as they grow and as they, did I give them enough Jesus?
Right.
I failed, which, a little note, I found it interesting in myself that anytime my kids messed up, anything that was wrong with them, I said that I messed up.
Right.
Whereas when they're good and golden and beautiful and amazing and everyone's complimenting them, I always say, well, that's just how God wired them.
Right.
And He sent them to me that way, and I'm blessed to have them. I never take credit for any of that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I just think it's interesting that I will totally own all the mistakes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
God knows.
God knows.
I always say I'm not what they need. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not the mom that they need. Maybe they need another mom.
Yeah.
But,
Which is a lie.
which is a lie.
And
And
I will say, like, my kids need Hannah Reason sometimes. They really do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, moving to a more positive note, I think the thing that I hear Jesus say to me or speak into me about is, when I'm weak, He's strong. That's that verse that I hear in 2 Corinthians. It's, my weaknesses, I'm going to celebrate those weaknesses, because then that means that Jesus is celebrated more. It's more about Him and less about me. And so when I'm weak, then He brings other people around to help, or He brings that community around to be what I'm not, and that's okay, because then it just glorifies Him more too.
Doesn't it just drive us to seek Jesus?
Right.
I mean, how many times was I on my knees in my kids' rooms through their little ages and just praying for them? And I tell my kids my faith grew because I was a mom more than it did at any other
Absolutely.
stage of my life, because I had to depend on Jesus to get me through, not to get me through it, but to raise them and to feel like somebody else has got this too. Somebody's with me in this.
Right?
You're not alone.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, sorry to interrupt, I think I learned more about my relationship with God being a mom. And I can remember being so frustrated sometimes going into the bedroom and just like dropping to my knees, so angry at maybe being disrespected by one of my kids, or just, again, that self-talk about I'm not enough, or I felt like, gosh, I give them everything and it's never enough, even that feeling. And they just don't appreciate me. And I specifically remember the Lord saying, now you know how I feel. And it was such a humbling experience to understand my relationship with God. He's given us so much. He loves me so much. There isn't anything He wouldn't do for me, just like a parent would for a child. And yet, am I grateful all the time? Do I always expect more? Do I run back to Him in gracious praise? So that taught me about that relationship.
Well, oh, go ahead, Joyce.
I was in a parenting class once when I first moved to Phoenix, and everybody in the class had the same age children, and I said to the instructor, we were talking about something just like you say, that they didn't listen, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. And I said to the instructor, why didn't someone tell me how difficult parenting was going to be? And she said, you wouldn't have listened. Which is true, you know. We don't think it's going to be that difficult until we get into the thick of it, and then there we are.
Well, look how much we know before we even have kids. We watch other people have kids,
Right.
and we think, oh, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, right.
Or they're doing it wrong, or whatever judgments we're like, oh,
Oh,
gosh,
yes.
they're the best mom ever. It could just be the judgment of like the compliment, and then we get into that situation where like we don't know anything. Which that was going to be one of my words too, like about motherhood is example. I have learned so much from each one of us, watching how they how that style is, or that personality, or that experience. Even Jill, you guys going to San Diego, like I love that experience. That was an example to me of doing something with my older kids that would be memory making and stuff like that. So the example of other moms and the community of other moms has saved me a million times.
I think that's my biggest encouragement to moms would be just know you're not alone. Know that we all feel those moments of lows, and we all need that community of other moms. Like if you're a mom that's alone, I would say find other moms if you can, whether it's at church or whether it's in your neighborhood or with girlfriends from work or wherever you're at. Just find those other moms that you can talk to and say, hey, I went to bed last night feeling horrible about myself, and is this just me? And then they can say to you, oh my gosh, I've been there too, and I have tons of laundry and my dishes are overflowing, you know. So I think hearing you guys, all of you guys are my friends, and just talking to you at different times in our lives, like you said, and just hearing your lows kind of is an encouragement to me, which I feel bad saying that, but just knowing that, okay, it's not just me, like I'm not alone in this. That's how I felt. I wanted other moms to know you're not alone. We all go through those moments that feeling discouraged, but also growing in our walk with God,
Right.
and realizing we need each other is huge. But,
And I know we've heard this before too, where we want to take such ownership of our kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. And so many times we learn, especially as they get older, they're not ours, they're God's. He created them. The Holy Spirit is pouring into them. Our job is to lead them to Christ through community, through prayer, through church, through our own lives. But the Holy Spirit makes things grow.
well, Joyce, you are the seasoned mother, the most wisdom in the room, I would say by far. What's advice that you would give us moms? Something that you've learned over the years that either someone shared with you or that you've learned from raising your kids and grandkids? And
When I finished, when all the children were graduated from high school and college, I said that my philosophy of parenting would be that you have to set enough limits so you can live with them.
Yeah.
And then you have to give them enough free rein so that they're own person. And I still think that's true. Now, did I know that when I had my kids at home? No. But I tell everybody who will listen.
yeah,
Thankfully, that's how you told me. So
Right.
yeah.
I did learn there were some times when I realized that I could live with a whole lot more than other people could.
Oh yeah.
So when we were in public places, I had to have a whole nother little set.
Well, they always say pick your battles, right?
Yeah,
Pick your battles.
absolutely.
Yes.
And I just felt like, yeah, but you have to battle over something. Like you can't just be the mom who doesn't have any battles,
Right.
right? There has to be some lines.
She would say, when I would look at the situation, decide who is in control here, and if it's not you, then figure out how to make it you. Because not that you have to be a control freak, but there's just times when you realize when they're little, especially, that things are happening and you can't stop it, and you've got to figure out a way to make it that they're listening to you and then you have control. And it was like the stepping back moment. I remember the feeling of almost panic as I'm watching my kid going, I don't know what's happening and I don't know what to do, and listening, and I gotta do it. And I'd say, okay, I'm not in control. How do I make it that I'm in control? And I would somehow get through it. But I remember that panicky feeling, my mom's voice in my head.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves who's in charge of this household.
Right.
And it really better be you, because otherwise it's chaos.
Yeah. After they're pushing those boundaries all day, and maybe you've had a long day and they're finally in bed, and then you turn those lights off, taking the time to sit with them instead of like, hey, good night, okay, everybody, good night, see ya. When you're tired, I'm exhausted at that point in my day, but I've tried to be intentional about going into each of them. And mind you, I have girls, so it's a long process. But just trying to go into each of them and just saying, like, how are you doing? Like, what can and something about that time at night, you taking that time and the lights being off, I think that's another like really big encouragement for moms. And I'm so glad I got that advice from somebody else, but just taking that time at the end of the day, and then everything starts spilling out and they start asking you about friendships and God, and so it is a maybe they're trying to stay up later than they should be. But
It's amazing how that time of night, they just start talking. Somebody said, I don't know if I read it or somebody said at one time, that you have to be ready to talk when they're ready to talk. Not be just, how was your day at school, and expect it all to come out when it's convenient for you. It has to be when they're ready, and so you gotta stay awake.
So I can tell a quick story about that. I got some advice from someone that when your kids are teenagers, there's going to be just that natural barrier between you. But they have to know whatever the angst is, or the bristle, or that burlap moment is, that you still love them and they still love you. So get a thimble, like a little sewing thimble, a little silver thimble, and let that be a kiss. So like from the movie Hook, this was a kiss. So regardless of whatever the issue is, there's this little kiss that's between you. So I had that for each one of my kids, and when our son went off to college, I just wanted to spend more time with him, go to Target one more time, help him with his dorm room one more time, and he's like, Mom, Dad, leave. Drive back to California. I'm like, what? You're done? We don't get more time. And I was like clinging to him, right? Which happens. Like when the kids are little, they're clinging to you, but as they age, you tend to cling to them a little bit. So we drove home, and I still was pretty melancholy and sad, and I came in, and there was Michael's thimble sitting on my dressing table, and he had put it there. And because he knew, like, it's gonna be okay, here's a kiss.
so when you need that time, that kind of quiet time, that time to re-energize, or that time to have some time with the Lord, what do you do? What's your place that you go to, or that moment of quiet how do you find that? Basically. Patty, I'll start with you.
Okay, I create spaces. So for me, once I create a space, that's my space. So I have a chair, and I have a table, and I have a little tray with my Bible and Jesus Calling and a pencil, and I have a book that I write down gifts in, and a gift could be a bird singing, or a cinnamon roll, or something great, like our son got a job the other day, so that went into the book, right? Because those are all God-given gifts. But I had to be really intentional on creating a space. So, and it's first thing in the morning. I get up, I have coffee, I sit down, and I just pray, and I just start my morning that way. And if I don't do it that way, I've missed something. I've missed a word, right?
much the same early in the morning, and when the children were young, I didn't. I was just up and they were all around here. And I'm sorry that I missed that, but I did rely on the Lord and prayed, but a lot of times it was like as I'm going, praying. So,
Yeah.
but now I do have that time, but it's different, and I hope you moms can have that special time. It's really wonderful.
I think I would love to do it in the morning, and if I can, I do try to. But lately, I've been having a 2-year-old wake me up at like 5:30, and so it just gets going after that. But at the end of the day, it's normally in my bed, and I pray. I have a journal that I've been trying to write in. And actually, I've been doing a better job the last few months because I've had a little more time to do it.
Okay, Jill, what about you?
It's all over the place. Right now, it's in the morning and at night. I think the night started when my kids were younger, and I knew that once I put them to bed, that was it. And no one was gonna get up and want me, usually, unless they were sick or something. But I felt like I could really be at peace because it was done. And so I did stay up later, and because Jeremy goes to bed so early that it was just a real peaceful time for me. Now I can do mornings more, and I do mornings also. I like to be alone, so I find my times. When the kids were little, I usually just found it whenever I could. I tried to do early mornings, and I have a chair in my room that I can be in, and I also have a chair in the family room. So depending on where the activity is, or if Jeremy's gone to bed, I have a place I can go have some solitude. And because I remember during nap time, it happened when the kids were younger, but I just kind of had to be, I think I've adapted it depending on the stage of my kids. And
To be creative.
yeah. Now I have a lot more freedom to have it when it works for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same exact thing, just as my kids have, since they were little, it was more at night, and then now that they've gotten older and I'm working, I'll get up before work and when it's quiet, and especially now that they're teenagers, I have a lot more quiet time in the morning.
Right.
But just I think finding that rhythm for your family and what works best for you, carving out that time, I think is what helps you as a mom kind of refuel and re-energize. The only other thing I was gonna say was I love going on a walk. That's been really meaningful for me lately. Just not only spiritually in my time with the Lord where I can talk to Him or listen to worship music, but also mentally just having it be quiet and just outside in the fresh air. I love that too. So I think just finding what works for you and your personality and the rhythm of your family, but still trying to carve out at least 5 minutes, right, for you and the Lord. So.
I think there were a lot of days when the kids were little that I just prayed all day long.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Or even, your one private moment where they're still sticking their
Bathroom.
fingers under the door. That might be where it happens too.
Or getting one of those little flip calendars that has a verse on it.
Right.
If you read that one verse that day, then
Yeah.
you're good when they're little.
I think too, just like while you're still in bed and it's early and you just open your eyes, thank you for this day, Lord, right? And then I just read something years and years ago about such an encouragement to moms who are doing so much for their children. That is the devotion that you are giving to the Lord. And that just helped me, I guess, not be so guilty that I wasn't having a Bible study or doing a devotion, because you're really in the thick of things. But that extra cup of milk, or that wiped face, or that Band-Aid on the knee, those were all given to the Lord also. And that just took a load off.
Yeah.
It really did.
I remember when, I think it was at that retreat, you taught a class or something, or I don't know, maybe we were just talking, but that whole anxiety that I think we have as moms that keep us awake at night about our kids, and you said, and it's like when your head hits the pillow, you just start to go, your brain starts thinking about those things, and I believe it's Satan, but you said that's when you start naming everything you're thankful for.
Yep.
And that was a way for me to go to sleep, and it's another thing that now this is a time with you and God, that you're
Right.
saying, I'm thankful for these things, and it takes your mind to a different place that hopefully is amazing.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for coming here today and for sharing your heart and your advice and your wisdom. And I just love hearing from all of you. And thank you for being an encouragement to me as a mom. And hopefully, we've encouraged some other people too today. So thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
A big thank you to those wonderful moms who gave us some time this week to just sit down and just hear their heart on just what it means to be a mom. And of course, one of those moms in particular, my wife, thank you, sweetie. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. So back to this whole Mother's Day message, which I really believe is again for everybody. But we're talking about this abbreviated word, Yana, and just Y-A-N-A, and how these are 4 words abbreviated here that every mom needs to hear this week. And I gave you the first 3, that the Y stands for you, the A stands for R, the N stands for not, and you might have guessed what the last A stands for, but here it is, Yana point number 4, the last A stands for alone. Alone. And the sub point, because I love those, you know, alone in feeling but not in fact. Friend, mothers, you might be feeling alone. Now, alone in feeling is very valid, it's very human, but the fact is something even greater to understand. It says here in Hebrews 13:5, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So you can say with confidence, the Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. I will not. And I love that, and this is one of my favorite verses I often will bring up from time to time. So those who have heard me talk before, you know what I'm probably going to say. It's just, again, I'm not a big Greek language guy, and I don't reference the Greek very often. But one thing I know is that there's not any exclamation or punctuation. So to make something stand out, you wouldn't put an exclamation mark on this. You would just say it multiple times in Greek. So imagine this being said to you this way. God will never, He will never leave you. God will never, He will never, never forsake you. Mother, hear that. Mom, hear that you are not alone. And that's the first fact. The second fact is this too, that after God, leading into Him, there's also this truth, understanding what it says in 1 Corinthians 12:27. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. What's so great about this amazing God is that He loves us right where we're at. He brings us in, adopts us. He doesn't love us because He has to. He loves us because He wants to. He chooses us. He says, come in, let me love you. And He doesn't just bring us into His arms, but He brings us into a family. Into a family. To remind us that we're not alone. We call that the church. And not just one church, but the whole church, the body of Christ around the globe. To remind us we're not alone. Moms, right now, if you're feeling alone, understand that God is with you. Also, He's put people around you too. And I know how it is as a human to be like, I wish people would reach out to me. Mom, I want to encourage you to reach out to those around you. Reach out to that friend of yours. Reach out to that neighbor. Reach out to us here at Lincoln Heights. We have community groups that meet still weekly through Zoom every week. We'll get you connected to some moms so you're not feeling alone. Moms, I want you to know that you are not alone. God is with you. And He's also put a family around you, people, community around you, so to remind you, you are not alone. See, when it comes down to it, this whole Yana thing, again, the word is Yana. That's the abbreviated made-up word, Y-A-N-A. And they are 4 words that every mom needs to hear, I believe, this week and during this strange quarantine Mother's Day. And those 4 words are this: you are not alone. You're not alone. Friend, God sees you. He loves you. And He'll be with you through all of this. Just know that. You're not alone. And for those of you moms out there, again, from the bio moms to the adopted moms, to the stepmoms, to those who've lost moms, to those who have a rift between them and their children or they're in their parents, you're not alone. And for those of you that do have moms out there, you can give a call to, call them up, say hi to them, say Happy Mother's Day, and tell them Yana. And they're gonna go, what does that mean? And then you'll set it up and say, well, I heard it at church today, Yana. What does that mean? You say, Mom, it means you are not alone. You got God always, you got me too. I love you, Mom. Let's go ahead and pray. God, we love you. And we thank you so much for being so good to us. We thank you for adopting us into your presence. God, thank you for being that amazing parent of ours when we sometimes feel we don't have that. For those who are missing that. God, thank you for reminding us that we are your masterpiece, God. You're still working on us. Thank you for that. Thank you that you remind us that we can't do this by ourselves, so we're not supposed to. Thank you for that. And God, thank you for just reminding us we're not alone. We're not alone. Well, Father, please bless the moms out there a ton today. Give them a break. Give them peace. Give them some joy today. Give them some encouragement. And Lord, we stop now and just remember who you are and what you've done. In your name we pray. Amen. Friends, we're going to go into a time of communion, and this is a time where we stop and remember what Jesus has done. How he gave up his life for us, how he was perfect for us, took the punishment that we deserve on that cross so that we could have access to him now, not just when we die someday. Friend, this is incredible what Jesus did. Incredible amount of pain he went through to give up his life, for God to give up his son. Friends, right now, here's the challenge, the invitation to stop and remember. If you have the little elements around, your little cup of juice and wafer, that's great, but you probably don't. So get maybe like a wheat thin and a cup of water. And just use this time to remember. And the wafer is supposed to be symbolic of his body broken on the cross, and the juice symbolic of his blood spilled on the cross. And what you're supposed to do here is remember what he's done. Just stop and thank him. And if you have anything in your heart that you feel guilty about, that you feel just like, confess it to him now. Just in the quiet of your own heart, he can hear you. Enjoy your time with the Lord, and then we'll be led into some worship.